Hey y'all, I'm back with another YouTube video, and today I have another set of acrylic toes. You guys kept commenting it, y'all need more acrylic toes, so here we are. Here I'm just pushing back her cuticles using my cuticle pusher, and afterwards I'm going to use my fine grit sanding band to remove any shine off of her natural nail plate. Also, I'm sorry for the ghetto tissue between her toes. I did order some toe separators, but they got delayed, and Amazon never do that. But look, I got some coming on the way, so the next time I do some acrylic toes, y'all don't gotta look at this ghetto tissue. Well, it's a paper towel, but same thing. Now, using my fine grit sanding band from right to left, I'm going to remove the shine off of her natural nail plate. And when I'm doing this, I'm really not applying too much pressure, and I also did season my file before I started to use it. And what I mean by seasoning is I did turn my file on, and I lightly went over it with an emery board so that I don't cut her cuticle area when I'm trying to get very close to the cuticle area. Because of course y'all don't want to cut anybody with this, and I didn't even know it was possible to cut somebody with a fine sanding band, but I did this one time, and that was because I did not season the file. After removing the shine from her natural nail, of course, you do not want to apply any primer onto dusty nails, onto nails that have any type of dust or debris on them. So afterwards, I am going to clean them using some alcohol. So my acrylic toes do last for about a month, and right now I'm using my NSI dehydrator first, and afterwards I'm going to use my Young Nails protein bond, and lastly I'm going to use my no lift primer. And I use them in that exact order: dehydrator, Young Nails protein bond, no lift primer. So I honestly prefer to start on like the second toe. It's just a thing with me. I always start with the middle of the second toe. And you do want to make sure that of course you are pointing the toe downwards before you start to apply your acrylic. You really don't want to flood the cuticle area when you're doing this. Of course you can clean it up, but it gives it a much cleaner look when you don't have to go back and clean up anything. You guys can see that I'm being extremely light with my brush. As I'm moving this acrylic around, I'm still making sure that all of my acrylic is sidewall to sidewall. And before I actually remove any of the acrylic, I'm going to use the tip of my brush to clean around it just in case any acrylic is touching the cuticle area, because I don't want these acrylic toes to be falling off. Afterwards, very lightly, I'm bringing down the acrylic, and this is how people create square toenails without nail tips. The acrylic is pretty much dry, so as I'm bringing it down, it's staying in place, and I'm just going to use the bottom of my cuticle pusher to remove any extra acrylic. You do want to be very light as you're doing this though, because you don't want to run into the real toenail by accident, because it kind of messes everything up. So you really do want to be light as you're doing this so that you can kind of feel if you're on the natural nail or not. For this next nail, I'll be using the same method, but she actually has a full toenail for this one, so I really don't have to extend anything in order to make it square. Now you guys can see that I kind of did flood the cuticle area when I applied this bead, meaning it was a little too wet, so I did go ahead and make sure that that area was clean before I went back and finished the rest of the nail. Also, I know y'all see my pajamas and my slippers. This client was actually a squeeze-in on my off day, so that's why I was kind of just wearing whatever, not the point. But I am bringing my acrylic down now, and like I said, you really do want to be careful when you're removing the acrylic, especially with toenails that are full toenails, because like I said, you don't want to accidentally start to remove the acrylic too low, and now you have to pretty much fill in that area. It's real aggravating, and I don't recommend. So now that I know my acrylic is starting to set, I'm going to start to remove this. And like I said in my previous video, if you start to do this too soon, it's not going to come out the same. Like if the acrylic is too wet and you're trying to remove this using this method, you're going to get acrylic everywhere, and some of the acrylic might actually get stuck to your cuticle pusher and pull out, and you don't want that. So you do want to make sure that of course your acrylic is already starting to set so that you can just easily remove that extra acrylic. I'm so happy this doesn't take too long, so I could just leave this in real time for y'all. But y'all can kind of see that this bead was a little too wet, but luckily for me, it actually did not flood the cuticle area as bad as it could have. And this is because, like I said earlier, I'm holding the toenail down as I'm working. I actually seen a few nail techs use the bottom of the cuticle pusher to remove acrylic that's touching the skin if needed, like if it already started to dry and there's literally nothing you can do with the brush. I do recommend doing that. That's definitely happened to me before, where like the acrylic dried way too fast and some of it was touching the skin. You have to remove that. Some way, somehow, you need to make sure that's not touching the skin, because it's gonna lift. Like you can look at it and be like, yeah, that's not gonna last more than 3 days. I was honestly really proud of this application. I feel like these nails came out amazing. And also the set I posted before this went right with these nails. And we did add some butterflies at the end. I don't believe I got that in the video, but I honestly just placed some butterflies on top when I was finished filing. Now for her pinky toenail, because it kind of curved to the side, she did have to adjust her leg. And I'm going to link down below the foot stand I use as well as the chair, because I am doing nails in my suite. and I don't have like a water basin. Like I don't offer pedicures at the moment until like I get a water basin, but as of right now, I just have a regular chair that goes up super, super high, as well as a foot stand so that I'm not bending over, because I don't know how, I'm not judging anybody, but I don't know how nail techs are doing it like at their nail table and having their clients put their foot up, because my back was on fire. Like I literally just, I couldn't do it. Like I'm sitting there like, I got the job done, but so for the big toe application, I do try to only use one bead. You can use two if needed if you are just beginning, but I honestly feel like using one bead, one, it saves a lot of time, and I do just feel like it comes out a lot neater. Now that's just my personal opinion from like me doing this for a little while now, but like I said, if you guys feel like you need to do it in two beads, there's no rush. So now that I have my sides all cleaned up, once again, I'm going to use the bottom of my cuticle pusher to remove any extra acrylic. Like I said, please be very gentle when you're first doing this, because you don't want to run into the natural nail, and of course you want to extend the toenail. So if you're getting a little too close to the natural nail, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense, because when you start to fall down, like I said, you'll run into the natural toenail. So I actually decided to start using my sanding band to start to seal the cuticle area, as well as remove acrylic that's unneeded, for the simple fact that I feel like my 5-in-1 bit is a little too strong, and there was times where I was removing too much acrylic even if I was using this on a very low speed. So it's still at a low speed, and if I do have to, I'll crank the speed up a little bit for the big toe if I do need to remove any extra acrylic. But here I'm just sealing the cuticle area using my sanding band. Do I feel like it helped? Yes, I definitely feel like it helped, because I apply my acrylic for the toes very thin. Like I don't apply it thick and then try to like debulk it. Like instead I just apply it thin from the jump. Also, because I extended some of the toenails, I am going to have to go underneath the toenails and file just so that they don't look super bulky. Like, you still want it to look very natural even if you did extend the toenail. So I do recommend just going right up under there with your sanding band to give it a natural curve. And also, you do have to remember to season your files when you're doing this. Like, even when I go in with my emery board, or with my hand, I'm so sorry guys, with my hand file, even when I go in with my hand file, I still make sure that I season it just so that I do not cut their skin. I think one of these days I'm going to show you guys some acrylic toes on myself, like how I like to do my acrylic toes, because it's different. At least for me, it's different when I be having to do my own. So if y'all want to see that, let me know down below. And like I said, I know y'all want to see fall sets. I have those coming real soon. All types of browns, orange, mustards, greens. I got y'all. Now, using my hand file, I'm going to be filing the sidewalls of my client's toenails. And like I said, I'm not too worried about if I'm going to cut her skin or not because I seasoned my file using another 80 grit file. So I really don't have to worry about it. And to test it out, I always do it on my own arm just to make sure I'm not going to cut them. Also, I'm like a super big perfectionist, so if I did have to, I did go right back with my sanding band to remove some of the bulk, but only if I needed to. So guys, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you guys in the next YouTube video.